In this position, white found the only winning move, bishop to f4, and this move is a multi-purpose move. What's the idea behind this move? One of the ideas behind this move is simply to go here and pick up the rook on the next move. And notice something, this rook can't come into this square because that will be a free rook. So black is left with a few moves here. They can try to bring their rook here, or maybe bring their king over here. We are going to explore all of those moves in this game. If black plays rook to f8, saying if we give this check, they are simply going to step forward and the king would be protecting their rook. What do we do here? Well, we give a check here. They can't block with their rook. That will be a free rook. So the king is forced to step forward. And if we still proceed with this check, it does nothing. The king just steps into the square and they are chilling. So what do we do here? Well, we play this turning bishop to f7. The bishop is taking away this square and this square from the rook. So the rook can't go into the square. And if the rook tries to go into the square, well, we simply come in here with a skewer, pick up the rook. So what is black left with? Black is left only a pawn they can push forward. So they push their pawn forward, we move closer to the pawn, they push the pawn forward, we move closer to it, and they push the pawn forward again, we move closer to it. And in this position, black push the pawn forward. And notice something, if we get greedy and simply captures this pawn, the rook simply comes in here with a check on our king, and they would be on time to save their rook, and the game ends in a draw. So what do we do here? Well, we use the pawn as an umbrella, staying behind the pawn, and now black is left in a zugzwang. Black can't move anything. If they move here, we simply capture here. If they move here, we simply capture here, and when they move here, we simply come in here with a check, and on the next move we pick up their rook and we are left with a completely winning position. So what if instead of moving the rook here, black simply moves the rook here with similar ideas in mind, saying if you give a check here, I'm going to come in here, protect my rook this way. Well, then comes this check, and on the next move we pick up the rook and we are left with a completely winning position. So we have explored this move and this move. So what can black do here? What if black plays this move? Another tricky move. This one is very tricky. If we give a check here now, the king simply comes in here, and if we pick up the rook, they pick up our rook. So what do we do here? We play this turning bishop to h7. Notice something, this rook is in prison. If the rook goes here, we simply captures the rook, and the king can't step into the squares. And if the king steps into the square, well, it doesn't work. We simply give a check here, and on the next move we pick up the rook and we are left with a completely winning position. So black is left with only a pawn here, so they push their pawn forward. We start pursuing the pawn again. They push the pawn forward, we go closer to the pawn. They push the pawn forward, we go closer to the pawn. They push the pawn forward, we simply use the pawn as an umbrella, and now the black is left with the king and the rook. They are in zugzwang again. They have to move one of those pieces, and regardless of what they move, we are just going to capture the rook on the next move, and we are left with a completely winning position. Follow for more videos like this.